And then, so when did you start to feel like you cared? At what point?
Oh, it would have been like when we started talking like daily. I was like, okay, I actually kind of like this girl now. And then we met, and I was like, okay, I definitely like her. But then obviously from there, it just kind of got dry and dry. But then she'd like send mixing. It was like one day she'd be dead. Like it's like hot and cold, basically.
Yeah, this is all the kind of classic tests. How old are you?
20.
Yeah, okay. So you probably experienced this already a few times, right? Like the whole hot and cold thing. Girls do this type of thing.
Yeah.
So this is all just a test, right? They do this because they want to test where you're at. So if they like you, what they'll do is you'll go on a date, you'll have a good time. And where a lot of guys make a mistake, and I mean, you can tell me if you did the same thing, but a lot of guys will text the day after with some sort of text like, hey, how you doing? Or hi, oh, it was nice talking to you, or something like that, right? And this is this is where they mess up, because the girl most often wants that distance. Like, think about it. You go on a good date, everything went well. The best thing you could do as a guy is to just not text them, even if it's like you have to wait a week or two. Because then it sets in their mind, right? Oh, what is he doing? Is he with other girls? What's going on? Did he not have a good date? Like, you want them to think those things, because that's where the attraction actually builds in their mind, right? We as guys are very logical about it. So we were like, oh, well, that was a really good date. We're going to text them right away because it was a good date, which to us makes sense, obviously. But to them, they view it very differently. So this is probably where you got a little bit derailed. But chances are she actually liked you enough that she's still willing to entertain you. That's one option. Or the other option is she had another guy that she was talking to simultaneously, and then that guy dropped off for whatever reason, and now you're the... I mean,
she was saying that. Like, she started off where she was like, she wouldn't say anything, and she was like, oh, like, I'm just talking to you. But then obviously it got more and more, and she's like, oh, there's like, I'm speaking to like two people, like you and some other guy, and I was like, oh, right, okay. And that's why I kind of backed off. I was like, fuck that.
Good. Yeah, so that's usually what it is. Like, guys, I've heard enough of these experiences before that I pretty much already assumed that was the case, because you can almost tell by their behavior, right? And that's where you have to just read their behavior. But as a starting point, I would say if you're becoming overly emotional, the main reason is because you're allowing yourself early in that early phase to drop the boundary too quick. Because then we as guys get attached to our investment, right? So when we invest in something, then we want to make sure that we get a return on our investment subconsciously, right? So if you're like talking to her all the time and stuff, but you kind of start getting more and more invested, and all of a sudden she goes cold on you, and it annoys you or whatever, you're like, oh, what's going on? But I think early on, if you have the mentality going in, like, I hate it because people think it's playing games, right? But we have no choice. Girls are playing games all day nonstop. The game is always running. So if they're allowed to play the game, then, I mean, why is it weird when we play the game, I guess, right? So if you want to wait, the best thing to do is wait a certain amount of time. 4 days. I mean, always change the number. You have a really, really good time in person. Once you set that up, I always tell guys to set up the date as soon as possible. You want to strike where the iron's hot. So if the interest is there, they lose interest really, really quickly. So you want to move that, like, from a dating app, convert that to a phone number, ideally. Snapchat's very light these days. So I would convert to a phone number. From phone number, you basically get it, set up a date, and then don't text them at all until the date. That's the best way to build up some sort of a suspense. You go on the date.
Would you text the number, set up a date, and then just leave it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's counterintuitive. A lot of guys, they get told growing up, I'm not sure, like, you might be in this camp, maybe not, but a lot of guys kind of get taught growing up that, oh, I have to talk to a girl a lot to get her to like me. And I think that's simply not true, because then, and I've had really bad cases where guys talk to a girl for a whole year in the talking phase, and then some guy comes into their life, and then in 3 weeks they're in a relationship. And these guys are sitting there being like, what happened? How is this possible? It's because guys often see it as like, the more I invest, the more likely I am to get. But that just doesn't work when it comes to women. If you like what you saw, subscribe to my channel and check out my website in the description to book a call. Thanks for watching.